AeroSvit Airlines private stock company, operating as aeroSvit. Ukrainian Airlines was a Ukrainian private airline. Its head office was on the grounds of the Boryspil International Airport in Boryspil. AeroSvit Airlines was a member of IATA and an IATA IOSA certified carrier. Its main base was the Boryspil Airport. The airline started operations in April 1994 with international flights from Kyiv in cooperation with Air Ukraine. Bankruptcy procedure began in December 2012 and in January 2013, АеroSvit ceased its operations. History. Early years. The airline was established on the 25th of March 1994 and started operations in April that year with flights from Kyiv to Athens, Larnaca, Tel Aviv, Odessa and Thessaloniki in cooperation with Air Ukraine. In October the same year, the carrier started dry leasing some Boeing 737-200s in connection with the addition of Moscow into the route network. In 1995, new scheduled flights from Kyiv to Almaty, Ashgabat, and Riga were launched, laying the foundations for it to become a transit airline. In 1996, Yekaterinburg, Kharkiv, Lviv, and Simferopol were added to the airline's network. Also in 1996, the airline became a member of the International Air Transport Association. By 1997, AeroSvit Airlines became a member of IATA Clearinghouse and purchased its first Boeing 737-200 aircraft. By 1999, AeroSvit had acquired a third Boeing 737-200 aircraft and scheduled flights to Budapest, Sofia and Istanbul were launched. Post-millennium expansion and reorganization in 2000, two more Boeing 737-300 aircraft joined AeroSvit Airlines fleet. Scheduled flights to Prague and Warsaw were launched, and AeroSvit Airlines carried more passengers than any other Ukrainian airline. In 2002, a further three Boeing 737-500 aircraft joined the fleet, as also did the first Boeing 767-300, a 350-seater machine that previously belonged to SASH, on a long-term lease from Boeing Capital, aimed at starting operations to Bangkok. The airliner became the first Western-built wide-body one to be operated by a Ukrainian carrier. Also in 2002, AeroSvit took over the long-haul services previously operated by Air Ukraine. In 2003, AeroSvit opened its first transatlantic service with scheduled flights based on Boeing 767 equipment to New York. Later in the year, flights to Toronto and Delhi began. In this year, the airline also carried its second millionth passenger. Soon after, JAR 145 certification for performing in-house maintenance works in accordance with the European Joint Aviation Authority's requirements was received. With the onset of 2004, AeroSvit increased the number of weekly flights it operated to Bangkok to 3 and an additional Boeing 737-300 was added to the fleet. Route expansion continued as before, and over the course of the year the number of AeroSvit operated domestic flights across Ukraine expanded to 11 destinations. However, expansion did not just take place on the domestic market, as AeroSvit introduced new routes from its base in Kyiv to Beijing, Baku, Chisinau, Cairo, and St. Petersburg. Finally, in 2004, AeroSvit Airlines became the official air carrier of the National Olympic Team of Ukraine for the 28th Olympic Summer Games held in 2004 in Athens.
Aerosvit's ninth Boeing 737 mid-haul aircraft started operating in 2005, with a 10th being added to the fleet soon after. In the same year, e-ticketing was launched on the route New York Ukrainian Airlines Airlines and Azerbaijan Airlines started code sharing on the Kyiv Baku route. In 2006, the carrier became the 85th worldwide in passing the IATA operational safety audit. In March that year, Naples was added to the route network, and in June the Kyiv Vilnius and Simferopol Vilnius routes were launched in codeshare agreement with Lithuania's national carrier Flyal. In September 2006, АеroSvit was the first airline to operate both inbound and outbound passenger flights at Bangkok Suvarnabhumi Airport, and in October, the airline celebrated the 6 millionth passenger carried since it started operations. In 2007, due to cooperation with Delta Airlines, the number of destinations in the United States increased, allowing onward travel from New York to cities such as Los Angeles and Portland. It was in the same year that АеroSvit Airlines and Donbass Aero began to build the strategic alliance Ukrainian Aviation Group. Also in this year, the fleet was supplemented with a third long-haul aircraft Boeing 767 and 11th and 12th mid-range Boeing 737s, whilst the start of code-share flights with Belavia on the Kyiv Minsk route took place. In August 2007, it was announced that a contract was signed with Boeing for the acquisition of 7 Boeing 737-800s and purchase rights for another 7 in a deal valued at more than $500 million. The operation marked the company's first direct purchase of aircraft since its foundation. These new aircraft would replace the airline's 13-strong Boeing 737 Classic fleet. The first of them was handed over by the manufacturer in March 2012. In December 2007, the airline began the commercialization of e-tickets on its website. At the beginning of 2008, flights from Kyiv to Tbilisi and Almaty were launched by АеroSvit. E-ticketing was introduced on all АеroSvit scheduled flights, and АеroSvit Airlines again became the official air carrier of the Ukrainian national Olympic team for the 29th Olympic Games held in Beijing. In March 2009, АеroSvit acquired a 70-seater Antonov An-148, which was deployed on domestic routes in June. The first international revenue flight for the type with the airline took place in December that year, covering the Odessa-Moscow route. Also in April 2009, the carrier launched scheduled flights to Astana and Riga. The Ukrainian Aviation Group and Modern Era. In 2010, АеroSvit added a second Antonov 148 aircraft to its fleet and new routes including Odessa-Kaliningrad, Simferopol-Kaliningrad, Donetsk-St. Petersburg, Odessa-Riga, and Dnipropetrovsk-Berlin were opened by the carrier. An Odessa-Milan code-share route was launched. Dnipro, having come into the private group's business portfolio, joined the Ukrainian Aviation Group. During 2010, the airline opened 21 new international routes including Bucharest and Yerevan, and signed a codeshare agreement with Hainan Airlines that covered operations on the Kiev-Beijing route. Ho Chi Minh City was added to the route network in December 2011, becoming the first direct airlink between Ukraine and Vietnam. Additionally, АеroSvit signed a contract with Boeing for delivery of 4 Boeing 737-900 in 2013-2014, and a 4th Boeing 767 was added to the fleet. In the first quarter of 2012, the airline received the first of its ordered Embraer 190 aircraft, with deliveries continuing into 2013 or 2014. As of the 25th of March 2012,
as a result of the Anti-Monopoly Committee of Ukraine's decision to allow the consolidation of the Ukrainian Aviation Group's physical and operational assets. Donbass Aero and Dnipro no longer operate flights with their own codes, but rather on behalf of the parent company AeroSvit. By June 2012, the airline introduced the first Embraer 190. All Embraer 190 are ordered and operated by the partner airline Dnipro. Financial difficulties and downfall. Boryspil International Airport's suspension of AeroSvit flights in March 2012, and a clash over a $95 million debt with Sheremetyevo International Airport late that year indicated AeroSvit's financial weakness. As of the 27th of December 2012, debt was $534 million, thrice the value of company assets. The airline had not reported the 2012 results, but losses mounted to 1,456 billion hryvnias in 2011, a threefold increase year-on-year. AeroSvit's last profitable year was 2007. On the 29th of December 2012, AeroSvit filed for bankruptcy but intended to restructure and continue to operate. Large minority shareholders claimed they were not informed about the filing. Days prior to initiating the legal procedure, AeroSvit disclosed plans to transfer a number of its international routes to Ukrainian International Airlines. After the bankruptcy proceedings were announced, the carrier's aircraft were detained at various airports, leaving hundreds of passengers stranded. In mid-January 2013, АеroSvit stated that it would ban the airline over a $1.5 million debt. Late that month, Russia barred the airline from operating in its territory. As of the 31st of January 2013, the company stated that all the Boeing 737s were being returned to the lessors, as well as one Boeing 767. It was disclosed in mid-February 2013 that the company planned to cut about 1,800 jobs by March 2013, including all the Boeing 737-related staff that had already been dismissed, despite indications, in mid-January, that AeroSvit would continue to fly between Kyiv and Bangkok, Beijing, Dnipropetrovsk, Ivano-Frankivsk and New York. The suspension of medium and short-haul routes was announced, with plans to re-establish services to Bangkok, Beijing and New York in April 2013. However, as of April 2013, the airline ceased long-haul services as well. Part of AeroSvit's fleet was transferred to Ukrainian International Airlines. Destinations. Codeshare agreements. AeroSvit code-shared with the following airlines. Fleet. As of June 2013, AeroSvit Airlines has no active aircraft in its fleet. The airline operated the following aircraft throughout its history. Domestic flights. Since 2002, AeroSvit Airlines executed the Social Priority Program of domestic, intra-Ukrainian air carriage, operating scheduled flights that connect Dnipropetrovsk, Odessa and Simferopol with the capital of Ukraine. In 2003-2004, AeroSvit Airlines' domestic network expanded to Donetsk, Kharkiv, Lviv, and Ivano-Frankivsk. With the domestic flights program, flight safety, high regularity of flights, and a high level of service all became priority areas. Special standards of domestic flights were developed, such as making special menus available on all flights. In 2004, establishment of close cooperation with other Ukrainian airlines supplemented AeroSvit Airlines' own route network with such destinations as Uzhhorod, Chernovtsi, Luhansk, and Zaporizhzhia. AeroSvit and its Ukrainian aviation group partners flew to the Ukrainian cities of Donetsk, Odessa, Simferopol, Dnipropetrovsk, Kharkiv, Ivano-Frankivsk, Uzhhorod, Chernovtsi, Luhansk, and Sevastopol.
Non-scheduled flights. Another area of focus for AeroSvit Airlines was non-scheduled charter air carriage. From 1994 to 2004, AeroSvit Airlines organized charter programs and performed single ad hoc flights for various customers. AeroSvit's charter activities began with summer-only flights to the Greek island of Crete. Since 1998, AeroSvit Airlines had increased its charter flights offerings. In 1998, the first flights to Antalya began. In early 1999, AeroSvit Airlines opened a new charter route to Hurghada. Since 1999, new charter flights to Bulgaria, Turkey, Egypt, Greece, Tunis, and other countries had been added. AeroSvit Airlines increased its volume of charter air carriage considerably. In addition to flights to traditional summer resorts, AeroSvit Airlines flew to winter skiing resorts in Austria, France, Finland, Turkey, and Slovakia. After AeroSvit Airlines added Boeing 767-300ERs to its fleet, charter flights to the Maldives, Tenerife, the Dominican Republic, Indonesia and other locales were added. Traffic and statistics. Corporate affairs and identity. Subsidiaries: Dnipro-Avia, an airline headquartered in Dnipropetrovsk, which participated in the Ukrainian Aviation Group and operated flights under AeroSvit's VV code. Donbass Aero was an airline headquartered in Donetsk, which participated in the Ukrainian Aviation Group and operated scheduled flights under AeroSvit's VV code. Liveries and logo. AeroSvit's last livery was a Euro-white scheme, comprising a white fuselage with the blue AeroSvit title and design. The tail was white with a bluebird wing inside the yellow circle and the small Ukrainian flag at the top. The wing became a symbol of the company and inspired the name of AeroSvit Airlines. In 2011, a common alliance livery was unveiled. International cooperation. AeroSvit was a member of the following international organizations: International Air Transport Association, including BSP, Association of European Airlines, European Business Association, US-Ukraine Business Council, International Chamber of Commerce in Ukraine, Kiev Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Association of Ukrainian-Chinese Cooperation. Incidents and accidents. On 17 December 1997, AeroSvit Flight 241, a Yakovlev Yak-42, crashed near Thessaloniki, Greece. All 62 passengers and 8 crew members died.